Hey, what's up? I got some more lore content for you guys. Alongside my recent 3 decks for beginners video, I also wanted to provide some more easy to craft decks for newer and intermediate players. I'll be covering each region one after another, that way you have a direction to go based on your favorite region. Hello, my name is Tempo and I've hit Master Tier every season since the beta, even peaking rank 1 multiple times on the North American ladder, and I will be your guide to Legends of Runeterra. So small disclaimer before I get into the first one, these decks won't be able to be crafted day 1. These are primarily meant as solid cores to go for after a few weeks of playing and understanding which regions or playstyles you enjoy the most. If you want the easiest and most budget decks to craft, I recommend checking out my 3 decks for beginners video from a few weeks ago. And we're moving up to the frigid north for this one, to Freljord. And what better way to start off than with the Queen of Freljord, Ashe. So here we have an Ashe LB deck. The main theme of this deck is to build your board and then use your aggressive stats to beat down the opponent, much like a Demacia playstyle. However, we're going to add a little bit of Freljord flavor to it, using the Freljord combat tricks to grant HP for combat, and then also using Frostbite. So starting us off, we have Elixir of Iron, 1 mana 0/2 burst speed spell, grant an ally 0/2 this round. This doubles up as very good unit pressure so we can win combat with our units, and also as protection for damage removal spells. Next we have Omen Hawk, who's a 1 mana 1/1. When I'm summoned, grant the top 2 allies in your deck +1/+1, and I can block units with Elusive. So really good at answering Teemo in the early game, can also block Nora if she's developed early as well. And then Omen Hawk gives you some additional stats to pressure, like turns 2 onwards, which is really good. Next we have a couple Three Sisters. Three Sisters is a flexible card where you spend 1 mana and then you're shown the 3 options and you get to pick one. So you pick Flash Freeze for a burst speed frostbite, Fury of the North for a +3/+4 boost, or Entomb to obliterate a unit and summon a Frozen Tomb in its place, where the unit will come back in 2 turns. And next we have Icefell Archer, 2 mana 3/1 play, Frostbite an enemy. Frostbite says set a unit's power to 0 this round. It can be changed after, so if they apply buffs and stuff like that, they can regain their attack stats. However, Icefell Archer is going to set them to 0, which is really cool. Next we have Triple Sky Splitter, another really strong combat trick for Freljord, 2 mana burst speed, give an ally +1/+3, super good for protection with that big HP boost, but also really good for combats as well. Next we have Triferian Glory Seeker, 2 mana 5/1, she cannot block, so keep this in mind, this unit cannot block. However, she is very aggressively statted and has Challenger. That way you can use Glory Seeker in the early game along with Frostbite cards, like Icefell Archer as like a little bit of a combo, in order to lower something's attack to 0 and then have her kill it for free. And then she can continue pressuring the next attack turn, so just really cool. She has 5 attack, which has synergy with some of the other cards that we're playing, like Bloody Business, which we'll talk about. But yes, super important card. Next we have Yadulski Snowdog, another very strong card, 2 mana 2/3, attack, grant the top 2 allies in your deck +1/+1. Same with Omen Hawk, same effect, he has to go into the attack call to do it, but yeah, the best situation for this is to play like Omen on defense 1, and then that hits Yadulski, and then you top deck him, and then you have a 2 mana 3/4, and then he continues buffing your deck, and then you just get to kind of run away with the game with your increased stats. Next we have our first champion, LeBlanc, 3 mana 5/2 with quick attack. Really nice, so she strikes before taking damage back, so she'll kill something in combat and they will not strike back against her. She levels up if she's seen you deal 15 damage. This could be attack, it could be spells and stuff like that as well. And then she becomes level 2 LeBlanc, who still has quick attack, but you get a mirror image, and you also continue getting more mirror images and discounting them as you do more damage. Mirror Image is a 2 mana slow speed spell that says pick an ally, summon an exact ephemeral copy of it. So this is really cool because we have on summon effects that we want to utilize with Mirror Image, including a rally effect, which is super insane. Other than that, you can make extra LeBlancs, you can make extra Triferian Glory Seekers as well in case you need to grab more things. You can make mirror images of Ashe, and you basically just have like a lot of cool choices. Next we have a couple Reckless Triferian, 3 mana 5/4, can't block, just like our Triferian Glory Seeker. However, he's also 5 attack, very tanky as well, so the opponent's going to have a hard time blocking him, and if they don't block him, they're taking 5 damage to face, and he's also helping achieve our reputation, which again we'll talk about very soon. Next we have Ashe, our other champion and the Queen of Freljord, 4 mana 5/3, attack, Frostbite the strongest enemy. This just happens as soon as her attack call starts, she'll Frostbite something before going into the attack, which is super cool. She levels up if you've reduced the power of 5+ enemies to 0, so in this deck we want to Frostbite 5 times and then she'll level up. Also when she levels you get a Crystal Arrow on top of the deck, so this will be your next draw. It is a 2 mana slow speed spell that says Frostbite an enemy and all other enemies with 3 or less health and draw 1, so it replaces itself, but you do have to spend the 2 mana and a slow speed action to get this off, and it's a big AoE Frostbite. Now this is super good because she has a bonus effect when she's level 2 that says enemies with 0 power can't block at all. They cannot block you, they cannot come up into combat unless they are buffed somehow and then brought up. So this makes Ashe a really good finisher where you have her leveled and then you do Crystal Arrow and then AoE Frostbite the enemy board, they can't block her, and then you push with like, 12 to 15 damage and just close out the game that way. Little side synergy is that our other freeze cards are burst speed, so you can do this like at the same time as her attack call, and you get some really cheesy finishes that way. Next we have the Reputation card, Bloody Business. It is a 4 mana fast speed spell. An ally with 5+ power strikes an enemy. It does not take any damage back, so it's a one-sided strike, which is very powerful. Reputation I cost 2 less. Reputation says, this activates if allies have struck for 5+ damage at least 4 times this game. So as you're swinging with Glory Seeker, LeBlanc, Trifarian, Ashe, all that good stuff, every time they strike, it counts as +1 for the Reputation. If you hit 4 times, Reputation will take effect, and this card will be 2 mana. Next we have Trifarian Assessor, 4 mana 4/3. When I'm summoned, draw 1 for each 5+ power ally you have. So this is really good at refilling your hand. If you're running low on resources but you have like 3 dudes on the board, Assessor can come down, draw you 3, which is super awesome. Bonus side note, if you hit Assessor with any of our +1/+1 boosts to the deck and you draw her, she will count herself as well. If she is 5 attack when she's summoned, she will count herself for the draw, and that's super nice. So we want to hit her with Omen Hawk, Yodulski, and Hearthguard. Speaking of Hearthguard, here he is an epic, I know, but we're only running him at 2, so it should be pretty easy to craft. Overall, the entire deck isn't too bad, it's mainly commons and rares, and you do get Ashe as a 7-day login bonus, so pretty nice. The other really important thing about this deck is that it is tried and true. Ashe LeBlanc / Ashe Noxus has been in the game since like the very beginning, I want to say. Really old deck, and it's just really stood the test of time, so that's why I always recommend it to new players, even if you do have to craft some epics, and also if you have to get LeBlanc, which is a little expensive, but yeah, still super solid. Hearthguard is a 5 mana 5/6 that says when I'm summoned, grant all allies in your deck +1/+1, so just like super Omen Hawk. Super Yodulski. Love that, and he's super big as well. And next we have Harsh Winds, 5 mana burst speed spell, Frostbite 2 enemies. This is super nice, we can use it aggressively or defensively. Just a super flexible card. Frostbiting 2 for 5 mana, super valuable. And rounding us out, we have Incisive Tactician, which allows the deck to basically have a gas pedal that you just start revving it, and then you just start killing your opponent by attacking multiple times, and it's really scary. So he is an 8 mana 5/5. Reputation I cost 2 less, so if you get the Reputation proc, he'll be 6 mana. When I'm summoned, Rally. And that's it, that's all he does, on summon Rally. So you get to open attack, and then play him and attack again. And then we have some really nasty combos with Mirror Image here. Remember how I said we want to abuse on summon effects? Well, Mirror Image can be cast on the Tactician, and you get to Rally again. And then once you're attacking and LeBlanc sees you like deal damage and she stays on the board, you get another Mirror Image, so you can attack again. I've attacked with 4 times in the same turn before on this deck. I've done it using Mirror Image and Tactician. It's absolutely disgusting. But yeah, sometimes you get to those game states. Other really good Mirror Image targets are, again, Ashe. I mentioned that earlier, Glory Seeker. But now we can also talk about Assessor, because her effect is on summon. So if you really need card draw, sometimes it's good to hit her with Mirror Image, and then you can kind of get ahead of your opponent that way. And you can also hit Hearthguard for his on summon effect too. So honestly, just a bunch of good targets for Mirror Image. It kind of holds the deck together. I purposely made this list slightly more budget. If you'd like to invest even more epics, I would recommend running the Darkened Spear right here, 2 mana 0/2. It also has like the Omen Hawk effect, and you get a big dude later. You could replace Trifarian for it, and basically be pretty happy. I have Trifarian in here because he's super easy to play, and he's really nice for our reputation effects. But if you want to craft the extra epics, there's the Darkened Spear for you. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. I'll be giving context to why I'm playing certain cards, and hopefully it gives you a good feel on how to play the deck. And for this example game, we're going to be playing against the deck that I covered in the Demacia video, Garen Elder. We have Frostbiting, which is actually super good into Demacia, so hopefully we can abuse that mechanic there. We have Glory Seeker and a Trifarian, which honestly is pretty good. Harsh Winds Ashe, I like this hand overall. We're attacking on odds, which means we can set up Glory Seeker on defense 2, and then Triferion on attack 3. And that's a lot of pressure for us, and I definitely want to keep a Harsh Winds. Demacia cannot answer Harsh Winds, like, at all. Cithria, yes. We can also use it, like, as a response to their single combat and stuff, too, which just feels awesome for us. Double Ashe, alright. Squire. Yeah, I'm down to Glory Seeker here and just take 5. I want to set up for sure. So we can go for the Triferion, or we can go for the Icefield Archer that we drew into. Both are pretty fine options. Omen Hawk. Okay, that gives us something to play alongside the Archer, so I kind of like this. Just because I want to keep this unit alive for my next attack turn after this one. So let's go ahead and Frostbite that. And then we're going to swing into her. Even if they're on form up, we still trade even. So I would take 2 mana from them by doing this, and I think that's worth. And then we get to keep Omen Hawk just as a random blocker. Maybe he can put in some work and block something bigger later. So we want to swing into 0-3, also attack with the 3-1 currently. This could change if they play blocking Badger Bear or something. Swing, swing, swing. Just like that. We're going to keep the Omen Hawk back, because it would die for free to their 2-2, and that's not a good trade. There's the Badger Bear. I don't know why they didn't just play that outright. Why not just play Badger Bear there? Huh? What was the consideration? Huh, I don't know. That's interesting. Broadwing. Yeah, we can't be playing Ashe here then, because they could play something else and then Broadwing kills her. We don't have any protection, so I'm going to go into Omen Hawk here and then play Triferion. We can play Ashe next turn. That's fine. Yeah, that's the one. So what's Broadwing grabbing? My Glory Seeker? Just take Challenger for Challenger. No, you're going to value trade over the 1-1. Okay. That's pretty fine. Or the 2-2, even better value for you. That makes sense. Then I probably want to do, like, 3-1 there. And have my Omen Hawk block the 4-4. Yeah, that prevents good damage. I'm pretty down for this. These units can't block, so they're going to be chilling. I want to kill that Broadwing. It's so annoying into me. Tactician, okay. Okay. Let's play Ashe here.
Faster than I think not.
Alright, and we get the next action attack, so I think we just send it. Ashe Frostbites the Badger Bear. So this is another really cool combo. Ashe will Frostbite something during the attack call, and then we get to grab it. That's why I wanted to keep Glory Seeker alive one more turn. If all this resolves, we get Reputation as well, and we can even rally on defense 6. But yeah, this matchup is all about just controlling the board and playing combats well. Yeah, and there we go. Just like that, we beat them down. And the next deck I have for you is Galio Udyr. The playstyle of this deck is also very Demacia. It's also like Ashe LB, where we want to develop our units and then also protect them. So starting us off, we have the cards that make Freljord as good as it is, and that is the Repeat Elixir of Iron and Omen Hawk, of course. Next we have Petricite Hound, introducing us to the Formidable archetype. 1 mana 0-2 Formidable. Formidable says I strike with my health instead of my power. We're going to be doing that with a majority of our cards in this deck. We have really cool synergies with this, and we also have our Elixir of Iron and Sky Splitter being even more valuable for us than in the other decks. And next we have Duran Sculptor, 2 mana 2-2, when you summon another ally, grant it 0-1, again giving us extra HP and also extra damage on any of our units that we play after her. And next we have Petricite Broadwing, 2 mana 0-3, Formidable, when you summon another ally, grant me Challenger. That way we can use him to control the board in the early game and then also kill high priority champions and other units. Sky Splitter coming in, 2 mana, give an ally +1/+3. Again, super solid, especially since we're attacking with our health. +3 boost is absolutely insane. There's often times where we can use Sky Splitter as like a finisher card, just because we need 3 extra damage to have lethal, and we have it in hand. And next we have Vulpine Wanderer, introducing us to the Udyr half of things, which is the stance swap mechanic. It is a 2-2 unit that says, when I'm summoned, create a stance swap. Stance swap says, grant a stance to an ally. It is a 3 mana slow speed spell. You're shown all of the following options, and then you get to pick one, targeting your ally. Give your ally +2/+2. Give your ally +2 and Overwhelm. Give an ally +2 in Regen, and also pick an ally, deal 1 to everything else. So the most important ones that we're going to talk about are Boar Stance and Wild Claw Stance. These are the two that are used the most often. Force Stance allows us to give our unit +2 HP, also +2 attack, again because it's formidable, and then Regen. Regen allows the unit to heal at the end of each round. So if we put this on Petricite Broadwing and use him to challenge enemy units, he will also heal at the end of the round and continue to be a nuisance for them, and you get to control the board that way. It's super sick. And then Wild Claw Stance comes in as a finisher actually, so we can grant Overwhelm to one of our big formidable units, and that will push Overwhelm damage. Next we have Triple Blocking Badger Bear, just a really good card overall, especially when there's a lot of elusives in the meta like Nora. Blocking Badger Bear can come down and keep her in check. Next we have Triple Gentleman's Duel. This is like this deck's version of single combat, but it's actually like really insane because it's a Elixir of Iron built into the card. So you're paying 1 more mana than single combat, but you're getting +2 HP, which is again +2 damage before the strike goes off. So very, very strong. Next we have Petricite Charger, another formidable unit, 3 mana 0/4. I don't take damage from enemy spells or skills. Now this is obviously super nice, so if you're fighting a lot of P and Z, if you're fighting Freljord, they can't really do anything to damage your Charger. He can't be avalanched and lower his HP, he can't be shot by Mystic and stuff like that. So honestly, just a really cool solid defensive utility for this Petricite Charger. And next we have the star of the show, Ballin, 4 mana 0/4, formidable. Attack, grant other formidable allies everywhere 0/1. Really, really strong card, so he will buff your units in hand, and he will also buff your units in the deck. This is really cool because some of your early game units, like your Petricite Hound, usually like you don't want to draw those in the mid game because you're like, oh no, not a 1-drop on turn 7, right? But if you get some attacks off with Ballin, your Petricite Hound can actually come down as like a 4 or 5 HP unit with Formidable, which means it's basically like a 4/4 or a 5/5, which is super sick. So Ballin helps with that, and he also helps push your stats forward. And next we have Udyr, our first champion, 5 mana 5/4. When I'm summoned or strike, create a stance swap in hand, or if you already have one, reduce its cost to 0. So what he's going to be doing is just generating more stance swaps for us, or discounting them. That way we can get more regens out, we can get more overwhelms out, and we can also just make our units more bulky with +2/+2. He levels up if you've played stance swap 3 times over the course of the game, which is pretty easy to do, and then he becomes super big Udyr. He gains +1/+1 for each stance swap you've played, and then also he has the same effect where he creates more and discounts them. You want to put overwhelm on him, and he's just like a super nice finisher. Next we have Hyara Allseer at a quick 2 of, 6 mana 5/5. Basically kind of like the same thing as Udyr. When I'm summoned, create a stance swap in hand, but the first one you play each round costs 0, so instead of having to strike, it's just the first one you play will also be free, and that's really cool, so you can set up the turn and get your damage going that way. And rounding us out, we have Galio, 7 mana 0/8. He has Spell Shield and Formidable. When I'm summoned, grant other allies 0/3, which is an absolutely insane buff if you have a full board of Formidables. He's just going to give them so much HP, which translates to so much damage, and it makes it really easy to win with said damage. He levels up round end if your allies have 25 plus total health. So that's pretty easy to do. Again, when we're playing Formidables, we have our HP buffs, we have Ballin. Galio himself just granted everything 0/3, and then he becomes a rally win con for us. Each round, the first time an ally takes damage, rally, allowing you to attack for free. So if you open attack and you take damage, you get to attack again. And also if the opponent attacks you and you block, you get to attack. And just like the last deck, I would recommend trying to fit Darkened Spear if you can, if you have the extra epics. Very, very strong, but honestly this deck is pretty budget, mostly commons and rares. The Ballin you will have to chill out for, but yeah, it's definitely on the better side of things too. Udyr Galio was a prominent meta deck a few months ago, so it should still be fine, especially as a new player getting into the game. You will enjoy this deck, and it will push into the ranks for you. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. And we're running it back for game 2. We have another Garen Elder Dragon. Alright. Garen Elder, very, very popular, very strong. We have Double Gentleman's Duel. I like that. Especially as a response to like their own strike spells, Volpine, Ballin. We could probably get rid of one, just keep the other. We want to make sure we see a combo of units, strike spells, and also buffs, which makes me kind of want to get rid of Volpine, but I love his stance swap in the early game. Because if we draw into Broadwing, then we just have a really strong... Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I just called it and it happened. Yo, it's scripted, I'm telling you. Scripted game. Alright, so we're going to play Broadwing out first. That way, the next thing we play after him will grant him Challenger, so that's just proper order. Do Broadwing on 2. Oh, their own Broadwing. That's cute. Can't do much about that, though. Yep. I will skip. I don't want to lose my Broadwing. We can skip on that. We're going into 3 floating 1. I'm kind of liking Sculptor Hound. Or we do Hound and Gentleman's. Those are like our only 2 options. I really want to get the Sculptor down. If we get singled, I guess that's fine, right?
I sculpt what others only dream of.
And then we're going to do some shenanigans here in a minute. Petrolite Hound.
Come a long way together, haven't we, boy?
I think that's all we're sending as well. Just the Hound. Again, I want to keep my Broadwing. I think. This might also bait them to do form up now. No, okay, we got their Broadwing. That's good. Another one. Alright. Sheesh. Double Broadwing. Who's really playing the formidable deck? Us or them? Vulpine, float 3. Or we can curve Ballin into Udyr into Hyara. That's really cool about this deck sometimes. Sometimes you can just kind of curve, you know? I see, I see. So they're going to kill my Sculptor. Oh, man. Yeah, I guess we can Ballin then.
Slight adjustment.
I wanted to get the stance on the Broadwing, but they're developing so much, it's kind of hard to play out the stance swap. Better to just get our Sculptor value, because we're never going to get it later. Yep. That makes sense to me. Alright, so we have 2 options. Play Udyr on 5 or play Vulpine. Vulpine plus Stance is 5 mana. It's just Hound mana too, honestly. It's not that bad. Yeah, let's do Vulpine. This should be very worrying for them if they see Ballin go up with regen. If they just play Garen here, I mean, then we could play Hound and kill Garen with our Gentleman's Duel. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of down for that too, you know? I really like just killing Garen while we have the opportunity. Do Petricite Hound, just for the fun of it. Do Gentleman's Duel. Kill the Garen. They're gonna kill our Ballin with Vanguard. So I think it'd be optimal just attack like this. Just buff everything, or nah? That way we at least get our buff out. Let's swing at that as well. Because I think they want to do 3-2-0-3 and then 3-3-0-2. Yep. I definitely want to get that Ballin value. Because it buffs everything in our deck too, which is really strong. And then we're going to play around our Udyr package that we have in our hands. Squire, sure. Hyra Alseer. Gonna give her regen because it's free. Hopefully this is nothing good. +1/+1 and impact, huh? Well, to deter that, our best play is actually just give a +2/+2 boost here, and we have a 7/7. Pretty hard for them to deal with. And this dance swap was literally free. So we love that. There's not much they can do unless they're on form up, to be honest. Okay, I think that means they're on form up, right?
All is my magic.
They'd have to, like, that doesn't work though. Because form up puts it up to 6, so I'm still living. It lives too. And then what? We just shake hands? Because now I can block the 6-1 with my 2-2, so that wasn't really the best. I'm kind of fine with that. We could even lead our turn with a stance swap and do Ram and kill both the 6-1 and the 2-1. Because if we target our All-Seer, it won't deal damage to the All-Seer, so I'm kind of thinking that might be decent here. And then play Udyr after. Oh, you're swinging. That's even better for us then. Wait, they're setting us up a perfect Ram stance. Absolutely flawless. Because now that's one more thing at 1 HP. So that's how I'm going to lead the turn. I'm just going to ram it up, you know? Quite literally a free ram. Look at that. Pretty sick removal. And then we could do Udyr, Vulpine. Oh, we could do Vulpine first and then Udyr. When I'm summoning a strike, create a stance swap. If you don't have one, reduces cost to 0. That was actually a sick top deck, so we can play Vulpine and that will give us a stance, and then Udyr will make it free, and then Udyr will level. And we just have like a big one-shot turn. Yo. Fire Spitter? Alright. That's all good. Here's some. Give an ally 0-2 and they strike each other. That sounds pretty good too, though. And then I can just play the Udyr later. We do have to deal with that Fire Spitter, because Fire Spitter is just going to block my Udyr. If they didn't have this card, we'd be in a much better position, but I do think we have to go ahead and just strike it up. Which is fine. Just delay us a turn. We got Vulpine.
I will scout ahead. Won't we, Kip?
Cytheria? Alright. Yo, send it. Let our 2-2s fight it out. Let's go. Man, I really wish I didn't have the Fire Spitter. That would have been such a sick attack turn. I was seeing all the combos laid out in front of me. Badger Bear. Beat Udyr.
Spirits of the land, hear my call.
Yeah, we take 4. Go ahead and do 2 regen. Actually, let's give him Overwhelm. He's gonna be big. Yeah, 11-8 Overwhelm. We don't need to give him HP and regen because he's gaining stats from being in his level 2 form. Because he gets +1/+1 anyways for each stance that we played. So this works out. There, Omen. It's funny how we're both like just a little out of cards here. I wonder if that's their like last card, Elder Dragon or something as well. Yo, our Badger Bear is better than theirs. Better than both of them. Yeah, we get to send it. That's going to be a new stance as well. Oh, form up. Okay, last card form up. You got it. Bonk. Now we can regen him. He's gonna be massive now too. You almost never get to see Udyr be this big, so this is kind of interesting to me. 12-11. Hey yo, that is a big boy. The ballin'. Oh, another Fire Spitter. That's annoying. That means I have to play Ballin because Fire Spitter can grab my Udyr, and then that threatens lethal. And they're healing. Alright. Play Ballin. They gotta stop drawing all their Fire Spitters. That card is so good. Can't stop my Udyr though. At least there's that. If I top deck Galio, I'm gonna be in such a funny position. Alright, next turn. Ah, Charger. Are we in a winning position? Not really. We have to develop. I think our development's probably better than what they top deck. Especially if they top deck a spell or like another early game unit. Oh, it's Garen. Hello, Garen. I think we're pretty fine into Garen as well. We don't care that much. Like, we're just so big, we don't even care about top deck Garen. Yep. Yep. Hey, looks good to me. Bonk. 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 And then we can regen up the charger now. See how sick this combo is? Plus HP, plus damage, plus we get to maintain control of the board. It's such a fun combo. The Udyr side of things really spice up the Galio deck, in my opinion. It's so spicy. And that is it. Let's go. We're just a little too far ahead now. And the last deck I have for you is Volibear Aurelion Sol Ramp Control. This is a deck that I covered recently, however, I updated it ever so slightly. It's also the most expensive one because the late game cards in Legends of Runeterra end up being epics most of the time. So of course our deck that wants to ramp, play mana gems, and then get to those late game cards is going to have to buy a lot of epics. It just kind of like is what it is. Another thing about it is that our mana ramping is also epics, which I think is a bit of a scam. I wish they were just rares, but yeah, just have to kind of deal with it. If there's any solace, however, we get to borrow Aurelion Sol from the Fangs and Fury tutorial deck, so at least there's that. But yeah, this deck will be the most expensive to craft. However, I have it on here because this is still a really good beginner's introduction to ramp control in Legends of Runeterra. So, we have Triple Cosmic Youngling, going to be a good stall card for us. 2 mana, 1/4, round start, heal me and your Nexus 1. Really good into aggro because he keeps healing himself as a blocker and then keeps healing your Nexus. Really strong. Next we have 2 Falling Star, 2 mana slow speed spell. Deal 4 to an enemy that attacked this round or is stunned. So you can let the opponent hit you and then you can just kill something basically in the early mid game. A lot of units and a lot of champions have 4 HP or less, so Falling Star will hit, you know, tons of targets. Next we have Invocation of Thunder, 3 mana slow speed spell, draw 1, summon a Sigil. Sigil's really cool because it allows you to play your really big dudes for 1 mana less depending on how many sigils you have. So if you have 3 sigils, you can play a Titanic ally for 3 less, which is super sick. Titanic allies are units that have 8 plus power or HP. As long as they have an 8 in either stat point, they count. So yeah, we can play them for cheaper. Next we have Scholarly Pioneer, 3 mana 2/3 Challenger, pick and explore a spell to create in hand. This is a really nice flexible card, probably one of the best Pioneers. I love this guy, he's super strong. He can create for you a weapon destruction card, so that's super flexible in some matchups. A landmark destruction card, which is super flexible and good in some matchups. A keyword disabling card, which again is super good in certain matchups. And then heal an ally or your Nexus 2 HP, and that's really good for like aggro. Next we have Valhyr's Prophet, which is a 3 mana 2/3. When I'm summoned, summon a Sigil of the Storm. So again, we get more ramping. Side note that once you do play a Titanic ally, all the sigils go away, so you don't get the discount forever. So it's just like mana ramping for one big dude, and usually there's a lot of value in that, so that's where a lot of synergy comes in. Next we have 2 Avalanche. In case the opponent is just developing a bit too much for our liking, we can kind of just, boom, wipe everything away. Next we have Triple Winter's Touch. This is a mana ramping card, 4 mana burst speed spell. Get an empty mana gem. Enlightened, I cost 1, draw 1. So if you are already at 10 mana, this card becomes a 1 mana draw 1. That way, in case like you draw this in the late game, it's not just like a dead draw. You get to still get something out of it. So that's really cool. Next we have 2 Harsh Winds to stall out the game. Really nice since we are playing slow. Sunburst. This is a really good removal card actually. 5 mana slow speed spell, deal 6 to a unit. Daybreak, so if we're casting this first in the turn, silence the unit and then deal 6. So no matter what they do to it, like if they try to buff it, it'll get silenced and they will die. And it's really cool against units that have like really big gained stats, so something that comes down and it's like a +3/+3 on it, and it's like, oh, normally Sunburst wouldn't kill, but it silences the buffs and then kills it. So really good single target removal card actually. And next we have another mana ramping card, 5 mana slow speed spell, gain an empty mana gem, summon Feral Mystic. Feral Mystic is a 2/2/2 enlightened, so if you do get up to 10 mana, he scales. He becomes a 6/6 with Overwhelm, so that's pretty nice. Just use him as a blocker in the early game once you develop the Mysticism, and then you're good to go. And next we have Triple Rond, 7 mana 8/6 play, summon 3 Sigils of the Storm. He himself is Titanic, so you want to get some mana gems, you want to get some sigils down, play him on turn 6, maybe turn 5, and then Sigil of the Storms will be right next to him, and then the next thing you play will have a 3 mana discount, so super sick. And we have another single target removal card, make sure our opponent's strategies stay down. 7 mana slow speed spell. If you behold a Titanic unit, I cost 3 less, deal 7. So this will be a 4 mana, deal 7, which is massive. Like, that hits so many things. That kills so many things, even through buffs. So yeah, as long as you have a Titanic in play or in your hand, for the most part, that's where it's going to be when you cast this card. You just shoot something for 7, and that's insane. Next we have Udyr, an epic card, 8 mana, 8/8. When I'm summoned, summon 2 Frozen Thralls and advance them to 2. So this is really nice, especially if you can play this early. The Frozen Thralls will be countdown basically all the way down to 2, because that's what Udyr does. So in 2 turns, you will get 2 8/8s with Overwhelm, and that's really nice. So Udyr is basically 3 8/8s. 2 of them will come later, but they also have Overwhelm, so he's a very scary card. And next we have Volibear, 9 mana, 10/10. On play Relentless Storm 3 times. Relentless Storm is an elemental skill that deals 4 to a unit. This will target separate things. So 3 separate things will be targeted. Each one will take 4. If it's dead or gone, or if there just isn't enough targets, the enemy Nexus will start taking 2 damage for each one. He levels up round end if you've dealt 50 plus damage over the course of the game. This is combat damage or spell damage. And then he becomes an 11/11 with Overwhelm that casts his Relentless Storm every time he attacks, and also just passively gives all of your other allies Overwhelm, basically making him a big finisher card. And we have our other champion, Aurelion Sol, 10 mana, 10/10, spell shield, so he's a bit harder to deal with. Play, invoke a celestial card that costs 7 or more, love that. Round start, create another celestial, so we're getting some high value cards. Round end, your allies have 20 power, that's how he levels. When he's leveled, all of your celestials cost 0, which feels fantastic. That's how we're going to be winning a lot of our games when they go super long. Aurelion Sol can come down, basically just give us really big dudes, really big resources, and then you close out from there. And rounding us out, we have She Who Wanders, 10 mana, 10/10, regen. Play, obliterate all units with 4 or less power in play and in hands. So this is pretty cool as well. If you're fighting like an aggressive mid-range deck, anything like that, and you obliterate most of their hand, they're immediately going to surrender on the spot. This means that She Who Wanders is a blowout card. If you resolve it in the right game state, the opponent just leaves because there's nothing they can do. So really, really strong when you resolve this. You do have to be mindful that if you're fighting Freljord, they can like harsh winds you, and then it will obliterate your allies as well. So be careful of that. If you want to invest in the epics, there's another card that I would consider, and that is War Mother's Call. This creates some slightly different variations of this deck, where you take out certain cards, you add in other ones and the War Mothers, and you play around this card as like your centralized main card to go for. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here's a live commentary game so you can see how it plays out. And we finally have a deck that will mix it up for us. We have Jace Morgana. They want to double cast Sinner's Vice and shackle us a bunch. Really, really annoying mechanic, by the way. I hope this kind of deck isn't good, because it is just so frustrating to fight. Anyways, we have 2 sigil cards, Mysticism and Asol. I mean, honestly, perfectly keepable. We're going to pass the first 2 turns and then play Mysticism as soon as we can. That way we have a generic mana gem that we can utilize our other cards for. Winter's Touch as well, so wow. We're just going to have a lot of mana over the opponent. The only issue is, again, our units are going to be shackled, like, permanently. Mysticism, that way we can get a 2/2 body. Use him to block something. And just chill for a little bit. Youngling, fine, I'm not damaging you. Youngling is not good into us at all because we are not playing aggro. So you can have that. Want to do Winter's Touch. Quick attack Jace, yeah.
Hey, back to work if you don't want to be the lady of yesterday.
More mana gems, feels good. We can probably block the 1/4 just to prevent 1 extra damage, or we can block here. I'm down to block there. It makes it mana inefficient for them. And we prevent 2 damage, and we Falling Star Jace. Love this. Falling Star is so good here. Look at that. Goodbye, Jace. 2 mana, kill an opponent's champion. You know how strong that is? That's absolutely insane, actually. And then we have Seismic as well for another champion. So let's go ahead and play Valhyr's Prophet. This could bait Morgana or second Jace, and then we're just going to shoot it. Yeah, Morgana.
Show them what it is to fall.
And shoot her. Bop. How nice is that? That feels so good. They had 2 champions in their top 9, both dead. Neither of which are going to be a problem for us. Yeah, sounds good. Let's play Invocation. That way I can get a Sigil and also draw a card. I want to see something else off the top here. Oh, another Asol. Alright. I guess we just have Asol for days. Then there's Vise. There it is. Completely fine. So, it says, curse an enemy with shackles, increase the cost of enemy curses everywhere by 1. So now if I want my unit back, I have to spend 9 mana, which looks just as ridiculous as it is. That's actually insane.
What do you offer?
We're never having access to that card ever again. It's just not going to exist. And that's fine. I'm willing to give that, you know? I probably want to play Udyr over Asol because Asol's going to get shackled by like Lisa and Dolly or Morg, and Spell Shield does not stop that. So Udyr is probably better. That way I can set up my draws. That just feels a little bit nicer for us, I think. Forge, okay. Do I need board space? Not really. Kind of fine just sending Udyr. Take that 3/3, sounds good to me. What you got? What's that? Oh my goodness, Expliterator. Not my Udyr. Udyr already did its job though by getting the Frozen Thralls down, so I don't care about that too much. Let's get this Asol cooking here, if we can. Ideally we can, it'd be nice. Hellstones. Oh wow, you're gonna Aftershock one of my Thralls? Oh. Never mind, they're drawing. Their hand must suck. They're probably going to surrender then once I play Asol. But we did it. We ramped up and we got there. I think the highlight of this game was just killing both of their champions so effortlessly. Asol, and then we'll grab Mortal Fire probably. It's kind of nice. They have Obliteration, so maybe not as good. Destroyer or Cosmic Inspiration. Grant allies everywhere 2/2. Is that even good? I don't even know if that's good. That don't sound that good.
Your favorite star. I created it.
Oh, Supernova. Now that's good.
Now they'll pay attention.
Alright, let's just go ahead and full send it. Full send it. That way we can't get shackled. Yeah, we can resolve that. Num 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 num. And then our Asol is actually leveling, so that's cool. We can just save our units that are... Whoa, hello. Never mind. Wait a second, we have Jace here. I may have to kill that Jace. What's going on with the Sky's Descend? Huh. You know, that's actually kind of playable right now. Because I want to play the Destroyer and the Supernova for free with my Asol level. Is it actually Sky's Descent? I think it is. Alright, ready? We're gonna get the base drop. Dude, I don't think I've ever played this card outright. Okay, don't surrender. Let me get the base drop. Boom. Don't surrender. Don't you do it. Come on, I have such a cool Asol skin too. Just don't do it. Let's go! Just explode the entire galaxy in an epic base drop. Let's go. Just your typical Friday night for Asol. Okay, turn off Spell Shield, sure. Makes sense. But we have the Asol level. And Hush, you're... What? You're preventing my Asol level? That's so rude. What? That was so incredibly mean. It's not even funny. Why would they do that to me? Financier. Okay. I'm gonna She Who Wanders this and then get the surrender that way. Let it go away. Just obliterate everything. This will kill more Morganas too if they're in your hand. What's in there? Nothing. You only have spells or higher attack units? Wait a minute. Oh! Financier, obliterate a unit. No, my Asol. Oh, they're not letting me have any fun, are they? Oh, Volibear though. Now that's fun too, but I think I could just open. There's not a lot they can do about this. Formula, go ahead. Here's Financier, very balanced. And boom. Bonk, bonk, bonk. And that's it for Freljord. Extra shout out to the patrons on screen. Much love and thank you for supporting. So for some closing thoughts, even though these decks are a little more expensive on average, I think I did a good job showcasing the different aspects of Freljord. We got Frostbite, which is the exclusive mechanic to the region, a strategy utilizing Udyr from the tutorial deck, and also ramp control being another massive identity for the region. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a sub if you're new, and a like for the algorithm. That way other players can see this video. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one. Laters.